Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching Channels Television celebrating 21 years of professional broadcasting. This is the news at 10, and here's a reminder of our major stories tonight. It's a busy day at the EFCC. Anti-graft agency quizzes former Minister of State for Defence Obanikoro in Abuja and 2 Federal High Court judges in Lagos. Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption recommends plea bargaining as alternative means of settling corruption cases. S.A. Oruru's family cries out, alleges Bayelsa State government's neglect of her teenage girl and her baby after return from Kano. And pro-government forces record significant gains in a massive operation to retake last major stronghold of Islamic State in Iraq. Just a quick reminder now that all our top stories are on our website, channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channelsweb. And do log on to m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows phones from their respective stores. Besides the news and updates, the Channels TV app has an eyewitness feature. We encourage you to use it to share those pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the eyewitness menu and follow the instructions.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
And speaking of some of our pictures that were sent into our eyewitness portal, we can begin with this one from the Ikota area of Lagos State, showing an open drain on an expressway. Our eyewitness reporter points to the risk this poses to road users. Next is this picture from Oyo State, showing what appears to be a collapsed bridge. And our eyewitness reporter is asking the state government to replace the infrastructure. And here's one from Ogun State, showing an electricity pole on a street in the Ibafo area of the state. There it is. According to our eyewitness reporter, residents have been experiencing prolonged power outage and need urgent intervention. Well, it's not all about complaints, as our last picture today shows an ongoing road construction in Okene, Kogi State. Our eyewitness reporter commends the efforts to rehabilitate the road and urges same across the entire nation.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
The President has commended the role played by the International Committee of the Red Cross in the release of the 21 abducted Chibok schoolgirls, urging it to sustain humanitarian interest here in Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari, who was speaking during a meeting with the ICRC President, Mr. Peter Maura, at the State House in Abuja, said his administration is prepared to continue talks with the Boko Haram insurgent group as long as they agree to involve international agencies. The ICRC president, in his response, said their operation in the Lake Chad region is the second largest in the world after Syria, adding that there are health, water and sanitation issues in the northeast, in addition to rebuilding infrastructure. He also commended Nigeria for granting increased access to detainees and exchanges with the armed forces. The state government is considering the option of granting amnesty to those in possession of firearms. The state government is also willing to exchange the arms for cash with people duly compensated. Governor Simon Lalong gave this indication after inspecting the recovered arms at the headquarters of the Operation Safe Haven in Jos, the Plateau state capital.
Rifles, machine guns and ammunition of different types, sizes and shapes. Operation Safe Haven headquarters in Jos, the Plateau state capital. These locally manufactured and sophisticated weapons were recovered by men of the Special Task Force in their various operations across the state. The increase of firearms in circulation across the state has been a major concern, not only to the government, but also the security agents. Governor Lalong has come to see for himself the weapons. He is pleased with the achievements so far by the military in the mop-up exercise. The governor also promises to grant amnesty to those who willingly surrender such firearms.
We may have more of it still in the hands of our youth. What I can do is, first of all, to appeal to our youth. This is not the time for war. War does not, crisis is not going to help them. If we have people who have the skills to do this, like he said, the state government can help sponsor them and further their skills, so that government will take benefit of it, and then producing this one for the purpose of crisis.
Considering the level of dexterity by manufacturers of locally fabricated firearms, the commander of Operation Safe Haven wants the government to rehabilitate the artisans involved in the manufacture of such arms.
We have artisans that can do this, that the state government can fashion out a way of putting them into good use by discussing with the Ministry of Defense to see how these people can bring them out of their various communities, and then see how we can take them to DICON so that they can be either be employed by DICON or be attached to DICON to improve what they're doing, so we can put them into very good use.
With the proliferation of arms across the state, the government and security agents need to intensify efforts in the mop-up of those arms and come up with strategies that will encourage those in possession of these to willingly surrender, while the government considers empowerment strategies for them.
And from Jos, we cross over to the nation's capital. Here's Linda Akigwe. Hey, Linda.
Hello, Ijoma. A chieftaincy tussle between New Netim Town and Odukwani Kwa Town have left at least 20 people dead in Odukwani local government area of Cross River State. Also, property valued about 50 million naira was destroyed during the conflict. The New Netim community is now deserted, putting academic and economic activities at a standstill. A sad tale of a community counting its losses following conflicts that left many homes completely destroyed. One may ask why all these destructions, and the answer you get, it's a chieftaincy tussle. 18th of September 2016 remains a dark day for New Netim community when suspected youths from a neighboring community invaded the town carrying machetes, guns and petrol to set these houses ablaze.
Two cults decided to fight and before started burning houses and destroying things. So that's why we decided to pack our things out of this place to another place.
None of the key actors are here to tell the story, but this septuagenarian, Mr. Isaac Akpan, paints a picture of how mayhem was visited on the community.
The tenants who are living here, they were the people who came and told me, said, let me leave the house. So I left without picking anything except this very cloth. The following 2 days, I heard that they had damaged my house.
The people of New Netim no longer feel safe as they flee the community. The worst hit by the communal clash is a locality in Odukwani local government area of Cross River State, approximately 20 minutes drive from Calabar, the state capital. It is alleged that one of the factions was presented a certificate of recognition as a village head of New Netim without following due process. Paramount ruler of Odukwani local government area, His Royal Highness Asakara Ekanem Umor, says peace can be restored to the community by the intervention of the state government. He wants government to hastily set up a judicial panel of inquiry to investigate the remote cause of the crisis to avert more killings.
I advocate that they should investigate seriously how one of the factions in New Netum, Chief Village Head Tosso, got a certificate from the government without going through the proper channels, because that is the main cause of their problem in New Netum.
The police insist the situation is under control to ensure that peace is restored back to the community.
And not only that place, to secure Cross River State as a whole. So we have started reviewing our strategy, what went wrong, and what steps we are going to take to ensure that this does not repeat itself again.
The first time fight broke out between the two factions was last December, though there was no bloodshed, but threats were made. Surprisingly, security operatives appear to have failed in following up, and the result is what we now see in this massive destruction of New Netim.
2 prisoners at the Kuje Medium Prison have been released unconditionally, while another 8 are to be allowed to go home should their fines be settled by well-meaning Nigerians. The Chief Judge of the Federal Capital Territory High Court, Justice Usman Bello, who announced this, also said a panel has been set up to fast-track cases of awaiting trial between now and the first quarter of 2017.
Fine or compensation.
The Chief Judge of the Federal Capital Territory High Court, in company of judges, magistrates and lawyers at the Kuje Medium Prison in the Federal Capital Territory. This prison serves as a correction facility for the nation's capital and neighboring states.
All right.
No sooner had the Chief Judge arrived, the inmates were presented to him in different groups, ranging from those with light sentences to those who had medical issues and others who had spent more than 5 years in prison. One after the other, their cases were reviewed, leading to the release of 2 of the inmates, while the other 8 were to be released if they had their fine paid by the non-governmental organizations at the event.
6 January.
One of the detainees, said to be living with full-blown AIDS, was however not lucky in spite of his health condition. The Chief Judge, however, urged the prison authority to ensure that while he is adequately catered for, other inmates should be protected.
Taking to the court on Thursday this week for the variation of the terms of law, but then to the prison's authority now. In view of his condition, I will advise that you find him excluded from mingling with others.
The Chief Judge of the FCT High Court says a fast-track panel has been set up to speed up criminal cases as a way to decongest the prison and ensure that justice is served and not delayed.
Court by court, these cases will be taken head-on within a defined period of time, maybe 2 weeks by each court. And then we will give time to the prosecution, whether from the Minister of Justice, whether from the police, to come forth with their witnesses, and these cases are taken and disposed of, so that we clear the backlog of this long-age case.
As the Chief Judge and his team leaves, the rest of the inmates are hopeful that their cases will be decided, or another opportunity will come for the review of their cases. Amaka Okafor, Channels Television News.
And still ahead on the news at 10, Financial Reporting Council receives approval to issue new Code of Corporate Governance. That's in Business News. Join us again.